Now, we're talking about finding the right growth strategy for your business. And I can tell you right now that shrinking isn't the way it's going to happen. So when you hear people talk about, as I do when I go about visiting companies and in many different countries, that they're trying to shrink their way to growth, it isn't going to happen. And that reminds me, in the early 20th century, there was a cartoon strip that was called Mutt and Jeff. And I wasn't around then, but later on I saw some of their strips. And it reminds me of so many companies today. Mutt was a tall, skinny guy with a mustache. And Jeff was a little pudgy guy with a mustache. And one day Mutt turns to Jeff and he says, "So how's it going with your new plow horse?" And Jeff says, "Well, I'll tell you, I was teaching him how to work with less food every day. I kept cutting back his food. And guess what? He was still working." "So what happened next?" asked Mutt. "Well, I got him to where he could work with no food at all. I did it in 1 week." "Amazing," says Mutt. "So how's it going now?" Jeff kind of shrinks and he says, "Not so good. He died." Yeah. The point of this story, this was probably the early 20th century model of lean operations. This doesn't mean that lean operations and lean manufacturing aren't good. They are. But the key message here is that just cutting back doesn't give you growth. You need to grow. And you need to understand the basic building blocks of profitability to increase your profits. And to increase your profits, you can use many different approaches with those basic building blocks. But one of them could involve, for example, holding your sales level and then shrinking your costs and your expenses. That's okay. That works, and you can be profitable that way. But you know what? You cannot cut your way to sustainable profitability. And that's what you need to watch out for. In order to increase your profitability, the end result is you have to increase your revenues. You must increase sales because the top line is the key driver of the bottom line in every business. So let's concentrate on strategies for growing that top line. Now I'm going to ask you a few questions that I usually ask my customers, and it helps set the stage for developing a realistic, profitable growth strategy. 10 key questions. I'm not going to give you the answers to these questions right now. I'm going to point them out to you and their importance. Later on, we'll look into each of them individually. The question is, what is the optimum percentage of repeat sales every company should aim for? I hope every company knows, because this is vitally important to you. Second, what is the average percentage of customers lost every year by most companies? And you do lose them, even if you're not tracking it. Third, what does 10-10-10 mean to you? And I'll give you a clue. It has to do with the lifetime value of a customer. 4, how much more costly is it to get new clients than it is to retain your existing ones? And you need to know that in order to get those new customers, because you have to get them. 5, do you have a system for tracking customer profitability? If you don't, you better get one. And I'll tell you why in a little while. 6, what is the percentage of unprofitable customers that you have? I hope you know that. Some companies have over 50%. That's not a good sign. Further question, what percentage of those unprofitable customers are large customers? You'd be surprised how dangerous large customers can be. And then that leads to a really key question. Why are those customers not profitable for you? You need to know that. And 9, this is probably one of the most important questions you can ask here, and that is, why do you keep those customers if they're unprofitable? Companies rationalize the keeping of unprofitable customers, and it's not a good idea. And finally, what is the percentage of new customers you must develop every year? The answer to all the above questions will help you get the answer to that one. So, let's look at ways of increasing your sales. There are many different ways, but they all boil down to 4 basic avenues of growth. The 4 avenues of growth are, first, Sell more existing products to existing customers. They're the easiest sale. It's the easiest way to raise your sales 10%. They know you. Hopefully, they know how wonderful you are. They're waiting to buy your products. It's a habit with them. 2, sell new products to existing customers. You know, customers are always looking forward to new products. Every year, we want to know what new auto models come out. And it's inbred in our system these days. So you need to have new products for those existing customers. 3, sell existing products to new customers. Why? Because every year there's new customers coming into the market. We forget that. Every year there's more. The market keeps growing. And some of those new customers may even be the children of your existing customers. And they are receptive. And they need those products. So you might as well offer them to them. 4, sell new products to new customers. New products get new customers. And it's amazing how many companies these days are launching new products that create buzz. And when you got buzz, you got sales. And when you got those types of sales, everybody wants to have the product. Now let's see how many different strategies we can come up with within those 4 avenues of growth. Now, I'm going to ask you to do that, to come up with those strategies. And later on, when you come up with the strategies, then I'll share with you a list of 40 specific strategies that you can use within these 4 avenues of growth.